In right field, Tarasco going back to the track, to the wall. And what happens here? He contends that a fan reaches up and touches it. But Richie Garcia says no, it's a home run.
The Detroit Tigers have shocked the baseball world with a stunning second-half resurgence. After looking like they were out of the postseason race, they're now just 3 games back of a wild-card spot. But here's the kicker. This might just be the beginning. The Tigers are rumored to be gearing up for a massive offseason spending spree that could propel them straight to the top of the AL Central in 2025. Will Detroit finally reclaim their glory days? Stay tuned as we dive into the Tigers' big free agency plans. The 2024 season has been full of surprises, and one of the biggest shockers has been the Detroit Tigers' unexpected rise in the standings. After selling off key pieces at the trade deadline, most people thought Detroit was waving the white flag on their season, but instead the team went on a remarkable 28 run, clawing their way back into the playoff picture, just 3 games behind the Minnesota Twins for the final AL wildcard spot. So what changed? A large part of their success has been due to their young core. Players like Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, and Colt Keith have emerged as future stars. And it's not just the hitters. 24-year-old pitcher Tarik Skubal has solidified himself as one of the best arms in baseball, and he's likely to win the AL Cy Young Award this year. The Tigers have the foundation, but now they need the finishing touches, and this is where things get really interesting. According to MLB insider Mark Feinsand, the Tigers are expected to be major players in free agency this offseason. One anonymous AL executive even told Feinsand, "I expect them to be at the top of the division next year, especially if they do spend some money." It's a bold prediction, but with the way Detroit is set up, it's hard to disagree. Now, don't expect the Tigers to make a run at the biggest names like Juan Soto or Alex Bregman. According to Feinsand, they'll likely focus on adding a few big names and filling in some key gaps. Potential targets could include Pete Alonso of the New York Mets, Willie Adams from the Milwaukee Brewers, and even Baltimore Orioles outfielder Anthony Santander. These aren't just filler pieces. They're players who can instantly elevate this Tigers lineup. But the challenge will be getting those names to Detroit. Competing with big market teams for top talent is never easy, but the Tigers have done it before. Remember, this is the same franchise that spent big on stars like Prince Fielder and Justin Upton in the past. They have the resources and the motivation to do it again. So what makes this offseason so critical for Detroit? The Tigers haven't made the playoffs in nearly a decade, and their last period of sustained success feels like a lifetime ago. From 2011 to 2014, the Tigers ruled the AL Central, winning 4 straight division titles and even making a World Series appearance in 2012. That team was stacked with future Hall of Famers like Justin Verlander and Miguel Cabrera, along with stars like Max Scherzer. But since then, it's been a long, painful rebuild. Now the pieces are starting to come together once again. The Tigers' young core is developing at the right time, and if they can hit the free agency market aggressively, they could be back to contending for division titles. Adding a few key veterans to complement their young stars could be the perfect recipe for success in 2025. The Tigers' turnaround this season has been nothing short of remarkable. Players like Riley Green, who's only 23, have stepped up in a big way. Green's been an offensive force, and his leadership in the clubhouse has been crucial to the Tigers' success. Spencer Torkelson has emerged as a reliable bat at first base, and the Tigers' young pitching staff, led by Skubal and Kiter Montero, has been lights out during this recent stretch. But there's more to the Tigers' success than just talent. The team has shown resilience and fight, traits that often separate good teams from great ones. After appearing out of the race at the trade deadline, they refused to quit. Now, with a little over 2 weeks left in the season, they position themselves for a potential postseason run. Even if they fall short this year, the message is clear. The Tigers are back, and they're not going away anytime soon. As for the free agency market, don't expect Detroit to limit themselves to just 1 or 2 big names. Feinsand suggests they could aim to fill multiple holes, improving their depth across the board. Whether it's adding a big bat like Pete Alonso or shoring up their infield defense with a player like Willie Adams, the Tigers have plenty of options. However, the big question is whether they can outbid the competition. Teams like the Yankees, Dodgers, and Padres will likely be in the mix for many of the same players. But the Tigers have a few advantages. First, they've got a young, talented roster that's just starting to hit its stride. Second, they play in a division that's much more winnable than the stacked AL East or NL West. And finally, they've got a fan base that's hungry for a winner. Detroit is a sports town through and through, and the Tigers have the opportunity to bring playoff baseball back to Comerica Park. It's also worth noting that the Tigers have a history of making aggressive moves in free agency. Back in the early 2010s, Detroit wasn't afraid to open their checkbook to sign players like Prince Fielder or trade for stars like Miguel Cabrera. If they're serious about winning now, expect them to take a similar approach this offseason. But here's the key. It's not just about one offseason. The Tigers are building something sustainable. With young stars like Green, Torkelson, and Skubal, the future is bright in Detroit. Add in a few veterans to mentor these rising stars, and you've got a recipe for long-term success. The AL Central is up for grabs, and the Tigers are in the perfect position to seize it. But here's the burning question. Will the Tigers go all in, or will they play it safe? Are they just a couple of key signings away from dominating the AL Central? Stay tuned, because this offseason could define Detroit's future for years to come. One thing's for sure, the Tigers are no longer under the radar, and the rest of the league better take notice.
This is a very special day for the Astros organization. We can all reflect on Jose's performance on the field, but for me, Jose means more than what you guys get to witness every day on the baseball field.
I want to thank my teammates again. I play this game for you, to the Houston fans that they're day in and day out supporting us as a team, as an organization.
The Houston Astros are in a heated battle for the AL West title, but just when they need him the most, their star second baseman, Jose Altuve, is out of the lineup. Is this the setback that derails their playoff push, or is there more to the story? Stay tuned as we break down the real reason Altuve's absence might not be as bad as it seems. The Astros' playoff hopes hit a speed bump when Jose Altuve was pulled from Wednesday's game against the Oakland A's with right side discomfort. The injury occurred in the fifth inning after Altuve took an awkward swing. He stayed in the game for one more pitch, attempting to bunt, but was removed shortly after. The Astros, who are trying to break out of a 3-game slide, were immediately concerned. Altuve's been one of the Astros' most consistent performers, hitting a scorching .357 over his last 15 games. But when he's not in the lineup, Houston faces an uphill battle. The question is, how long will they be without their star?
Well, it was a banner night for the Astros in their home opener at Minute Maid Park last night. But today, Astros fans are a little on edge, waiting for an update on their star player.
Astros manager Joe Espada and the team's medical staff are optimistic, labeling Altuve as day-to-day. According to Espada, Altuve has already started working out.
Everything is moving in the right direction, but just where we at right now, the number of games, I think that's where we at.
And while he missed Thursday's game, it seems the injury isn't severe enough to sideline him for an extended period. He's in the weight room throwing the med ball around, trying to get the area loose, Espada said. This is great news for Astros fans, as the team is relying on Altuve's leadership to guide them into October. But here's the catch. Altuve himself isn't too worried. Speaking to MLB.com, he said, "Maybe I just wake up tomorrow and I'm good to go. I don't really want to make any decisions tonight, because normally with an injury, you wait until the next day and see how you feel." While he wasn't back in the lineup on Thursday, it sounds like the team may have dodged a bullet. Still, the timing couldn't be worse for the Astros. As of now, they're 3-6 in September, losing critical games to teams like the Cincinnati Reds, who swept them earlier in the month. Houston is clinging to a 3.5-game lead in the AL West, but that cushion could disappear quickly if they continue to slide. With just 5 series left in the regular season, every game counts. The Astros have built a reputation for being one of the most resilient teams in baseball, and that's not about to change. Even though they're banged up, with Kyle Tucker only recently returning from a 3-month absence and Chas McCormick out with a hand injury, Houston still expects to win. This is a team that's been built for October baseball, and they won't let a few injuries stand in their way. Injuries have been a theme for the Astros this season, but they've weathered the storm before. Altuve, in particular, has battled through various injuries over the years and always seems to come back stronger. It's no different this time. Espada's cautious optimism about Altuve's return signals that the Astros aren't hitting the panic button just yet. Even with the setbacks, the Astros are still in control of their playoff destiny. A 3.5-game lead in the AL West is nothing to scoff at, but the team knows they can't afford to lose momentum. They've been one of the hottest teams in the league over the past few months, and while they've hit some bumps in September, there's still time to turn things around before the postseason begins. One of the biggest challenges the Astros face is maintaining their momentum while key players recover. They've already managed to stay afloat without Kyle Tucker, and now they'll need to do the same without Altuve for at least a few games. The good news? The Astros' depth has been one of their biggest strengths. Players like Yordan Alvarez and Alex Bregman have stepped up when needed, and Houston's pitching staff has continued to dominate despite the team's offensive struggles. But make no mistake, getting Altuve back healthy is critical if the Astros want to make a deep run in the postseason. His ability to spark the offense, both with his bat and on the base paths, is irreplaceable. Altuve's experience in high-pressure situations also makes him an invaluable asset for a team that's chasing another World Series title. While there's no guarantee that Altuve will be 100% when he returns, the Astros are hopeful that this injury is nothing more than a short-term setback. Espada's positive update, coupled with Altuve's own confidence, should ease some of the concerns surrounding his absence.
Right now, day to day, he's in the training room getting some treatment. Just got a real right side discomfort. But I'm not really concerned right now, which is good. I'm not concerned, that he's an oblique. Right now it's just right side discomfort, and we're just going to see how he feels tomorrow. He did get some big strikeouts in big moments.
As the regular season winds down, the Astros are facing a critical stretch. They've proven time and time again that they can handle adversity, but the margin for error is shrinking. Altuve's presence in the lineup could be the difference between securing another AL West title or having to battle through the wild card. For now, Astros fans can breathe a little easier, knowing that Altuve's injury doesn't seem to be as severe as it initially appeared. But until he's back on the field, the team will need to dig deep to keep their playoff hopes alive. So the big question remains, will Jose Altuve return in time to help the Astros finish the season strong? Or could this nagging injury derail their push for another AL West crown? As the clock ticks down on the regular season, the Astros will need every bit of firepower they can get. Keep an eye on Altuve's status because his return could make or break Houston's playoff chances.
So I play for Team Canada for a very heartfelt reason for me and my family.
It was an emotional homecoming for Freddie Freeman. The Braves legend returned to Atlanta, but this time he was wearing Dodger blue. What happened next was no surprise, a standing ovation from thousands of Braves fans. But behind the cheers is a story of loyalty, legacy, and an emotional departure.
I don't know how many times Chelsea and I said we wish we could switch,
Let's dive into Freddie Freeman's unforgettable return to Truist Park. When Freddie Freeman stepped onto the field at Truist Park for the first time in nearly 3 years.
Before we do, I want to list off a couple of your accolades. 7-time All-Star, 2020 NL MVP.
The reception was nothing short of spectacular. Braves fans, who spent over a decade cheering for Freeman as one of their own, rose to their feet and gave the Dodgers' first baseman the standing ovation he deserved. His first at-bat in Friday's game against the Braves was a moment that will be remembered by fans and Freeman alike. Freeman isn't just another player returning to face his former team. He's a cornerstone of the Braves' most recent success. Over his 12 seasons in Atlanta, Freeman became one of the most decorated players in franchise history. He was a 5-time All-Star, a National League MVP in 2020, and most importantly, he helped bring a World Series title back to Atlanta in 2021. For Braves fans, Freeman isn't just a player, he's a hero. But of course, things changed in 2022 when Freeman left the Braves for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The decision came as a shock to many. After all, there had been hopes that Freeman would finish his career in Atlanta, but the Dodgers made an offer that was too good to refuse. A mammoth contract that brought him back to his home state of California. Freeman, who grew up in Southern California, couldn't pass up the opportunity to play closer to his family.
in the big leagues. And I think even back then, all of us were like, how is this even possible?
Despite his departure, Freeman has never been anything but gracious when talking about his time with the Braves.
In my heart, honoring my mother and playing for Team Canada, for me, is the right decision.
His years in Atlanta are filled with memories of success, personal growth, and deep connections with the fans. And that bond was on full display when the Braves faithful greeted him with applause during his return. Freeman's journey in Atlanta began in 2010 when he made his MLB debut with the Braves. Over the years, he developed into one of the most consistent and reliable hitters in the game. His 2020 season was nothing short of spectacular. Freeman put up MVP-worthy numbers, hitting .341 with 13 home runs in a pandemic-shortened season. That MVP award was well-earned, and it only cemented his legacy in Atlanta. Then came 2021, the year that Braves fans will never forget. Freeman helped lead the team to a World Series title, their first since 1995. For a franchise that had experienced heartbreak in the postseason for years, Freeman was the player who helped to bring them back to the top. His leadership, both on and off the field, played a huge role in that championship run, and Braves fans will forever associate him with that title. But by 2022, the Dodgers came knocking, and Freeman's time in Atlanta came to an end. The Dodgers' offer was substantial, and for Freeman, who had deep ties to Southern California, it was an opportunity to return home. While some Braves fans were heartbroken by his decision, most understood that this was a business move. And even though Freeman now dons the Dodger blue, the love between him and Braves fans has never wavered. Since joining the Dodgers, Freeman has continued to prove why he's one of the best players in baseball. In 2024, he's batting .282 with 21 home runs and 83 RBIs, numbers that have kept him as a key figure in the Dodgers lineup. Even though he missed some time earlier in the season due to personal reasons, Freeman has remained as consistent as ever. As for the Braves, they've struggled in the postseason since Freeman's departure. In back-to-back seasons, Atlanta has been knocked out of the NLDS, both times by their division rivals, the Philadelphia Phillies. This year, the Braves are once again fighting for a wild-card spot, just one game behind the New York Mets for the final spot. And now, with Freeman back in town for a 4-game series, Atlanta's playoff hopes are on the line. This series between the Braves and Dodgers carries extra weight for both teams. The Braves are fighting to stay in the playoff hunt, while the Dodgers are eyeing another deep run in October. But for the fans, the focus is on Freeman's return. The standing ovation was more than just a welcome back. It was a reminder of what Freeman meant to the franchise and the city of Atlanta. In his time with the Braves, Freeman did more than just put up numbers.
You've been in this organization since 2007.
He became a fan favorite, a leader, and an icon. And though he's now with the Dodgers, his legacy in Atlanta is set in stone. The World Series win, the MVP award, and the countless memories are things that Braves fans will never forget. But here's the real question. Will Freddie Freeman ever return to the Braves in some capacity, or is his story in Atlanta officially over? For now, Freeman is focused on leading the Dodgers, but as we've seen before, anything can happen in baseball. Stay tuned, because the future of this Braves legend might still hold a few surprises.
Chipper Jones saw it coming, but who really listens to retired legends, right? He boldly predicted Ronald Acuna Jr. would be a top 5 player in baseball within a few years, and everyone nodded politely and then promptly ignored him. Fast forward, and Acuna didn't just meet those sky-high expectations, he shattered them. Ronald Acuna Jr.'s debut season was one of the most anticipated, scrutinized, and overanalyzed in Braves history. But something extraordinary happened. Acuna didn't just meet the sky-high expectations, he blew them away. The year of Acuna began with Braves legend Chipper Jones boldly predicting that Acuna would be one of the top 5 players in baseball within a few years. By the end of the season, Acuna, at just 20, became the youngest player ever to hit a postseason grand slam and was nearly unanimously named the National League Rookie of the Year. While the award was being announced, Acuna was halfway around the world in Japan, playing for a Major League Baseball all-star team. It was a fitting end to the phenomenal year for a young superstar who turned 21 on December 18th. Here's a lively look back at Ronald Acuna Jr.'s record-breaking, electrifying season that led the Braves to their first NL East title since 2013. This story is told by those who lived it: teammates, coaches, his manager, and others, including a former Braves player and a fellow Venezuelan who tried to prepare the spirited Acuna for the big leagues. First, some quick stats. Acuna hit .293, led the Braves with 26 homers, and had a .917 OPS in 111 games. After the All-Star break, he racked up the major's second most hits, 85, and fourth most homers, 19. He also set a Braves record with 8 leadoff homers, all in the second half after moving to the top of the order. During his breakout season, teammate Freddie Freeman said Acuna could be the National League's Mike Trout. Despite not being called up until April 25th and missing a month due to knee and back injuries, Acuna hit 26 homers before turning 21, becoming the 5th player in MLB history to do so. He also joined an elite group of rookies with at least 25 homers and 15 stolen bases, a feat last achieved by Trout in 2012. Washington's Juan Soto had a stellar rookie season, but he was no match for the year of Acuna. The Braves' left fielder went on a tear in the second half, smashing 11 home runs and boasting a 1.103 OPS in August. He even became the youngest player to homer in 4 consecutive games, then made it 5 just for fun. Acuna was pretty much the superhero Atlanta needed, especially when the rest of the lineup and bullpen seemed to be taking a nap. He was the main reason the Braves clinched the division, and he beat out Freeman for the Brave of the Year award from the local chapter of the Baseball Writers Association of America. Not too shabby for a rookie, huh? Acuna snagged 27 out of 30 first-place votes for NL Rookie of the Year, leaving Soto with just 2. This made Acuna the Braves' first Rookie of the Year since Craig Kimbrell in 2011. Ironically, the other first-place vote went to Walker Buehler, the Dodgers pitcher who served up Acuna's grand slam in Game 3 of the division series. As the season progressed, Jones's bold prediction about Acuna didn't seem so crazy anymore. Acuna's stellar performance made it clear that he was the real deal, and here's how it all went down. In the playoffs 2019, Acuna, still just 20, broke Mickey Mantle's record for the youngest player to hit a postseason grand slam. After the game, the Braves phenom admitted he had never heard of Mantle, one of baseball's all-time greats. "I wasn't even born," Acuna quipped. The Braves wasted no time rewarding him, giving him an 8-year, $100 million contract extension early in the 2019 season. With 2 option years tacked on, Acuna could be a Brave for a decade. The New York Times pointed out that the Braves, as ridiculous as it may sound, almost assuredly got a bargain. That year, Acuna led the league with 37 stolen bases while belting 41 home runs, coming tantalizingly close to the rare 40-40 club. He finished 5th in the MVP voting and made his first All-Star game, starting in center field. Acuna's mastery of the 5 baseball skills, hitting for average, hitting for power, arm strength, speed, and fielding, was on full display. His excellence had fully emerged, making the Braves look like they had struck gold. In the 2021 baseball season, Ronald Acuna Jr. was a standout player, showcasing his exceptional skills by hitting an impressive 24 home runs in just 82 games before tragedy struck. In early July, Acuna tore his ACL in a heartbreaking injury that ended his season prematurely. Despite the devastating setback, Acuna's unwavering spirit and determination served as a beacon of inspiration for the Atlanta Braves. Facing the loss of their star player, Atlanta's GM Alex Anthopoulos rose to the challenge, making bold moves to bolster the team's outfield depth. Anthopoulos strategically acquired multiple outfielders to fill the void left by Acuna's absence, demonstrating the team's commitment to staying competitive and overcoming adversity. With these new additions and the team's collective resilience, the Braves surged forward, defying expectations and clinching victories when it mattered most. The synergy between Acuna's influence, the strategic acquisitions made by Anthopoulos, and the unwavering determination of the Braves roster culminated in a remarkable achievement, the 2021 World Series title. This triumph wasn't just about winning games. It was a testament to the enduring impact of Acuña's leadership and talent, even in his absence. But behind the scenes, it was a different story. Acuña was devastated and full of self-doubt. He cried every day, his mother told ESPN, and not just once a day. It was an all-day affair. He was distraught, crying, worrying about his leg. For the first 2 weeks after his injury, Acuña didn't watch any baseball, probably because even the 7th inning stretch would make him weep. When he returned in 2022, things didn't go as planned. He hit just .266 with 15 home runs in 119 games and struggled defensively in right field. Acuña later admitted that he had put too much pressure on himself to return to his pre-injury form and began to wonder if he'd ever reach those heights again. It was a tough season, but hey, at least he wasn't crying all day anymore. In 2023, Ronald Acuña Jr. silenced all doubts and delivered a stellar performance that cemented his place among baseball's elite. Not only did he tie the knot with his longtime girlfriend and embrace family life, but he also took the baseball world by storm. Leading the league in multiple categories, Acuña's stats were nothing short of jaw-dropping. 149 runs scored, 73 bases stolen, and an impressive 416 on-base percentage. His offensive production score, or OPS, soared to a stellar 1.012, showcasing his offensive prowess and value to the team. What truly set Acuña apart in 2023 was his extraordinary blend of power and speed. He smashed 41 home runs while swiping 73 bases, an unprecedented feat that redefined the 40-40 club. Before Acuña's historic season, only 4 players had achieved this milestone, none of whom had ever stolen more than 50 bases in the same season. The only other name in that exclusive group? None other than the legendary Ty Cobb, who pulled off this feat way back in 1911. Acuña's record-breaking performance earned him the title of National League MVP for the 2023 season, a well-deserved recognition of his outstanding contributions to the game. The contrast between Acuña's 2018 struggles and his triumphant 2023 campaign is akin to a phoenix rising from the ashes. From battling a high number of strikeouts to showcasing maturity and discipline at the plate, Acuña's transformation was a testament to his dedication and growth as a player. MVP of the 2023 season. Not a bad year, especially when you throw in a wedding and some serious family time. In 2024, Acuña faced another devastating knee injury, this time earlier in the season. But if there's one thing we've learned, it's that Acuña can bounce back like a warrior. Anthopoulos now has more time to strategize and weigh his options before the trade deadline. With some deadline magic, just like in 2021, he can help Atlanta return to the World Series and Acuña can make another epic comeback. Acuña's future performance is as unpredictable as a baseball game in extra innings. With his immense talent and determination, the sky's the limit for him. If he stays healthy and continues to persevere, he could become one of the greatest players not only in Braves history but in MLB history as well. Chipper Jones, the hitting sage of the Braves, has seen Acuña's swings up close and personal. When a baseball guru like Chipper says Acuña hasn't reached his full potential, it's like getting a weather report from a meteorologist. You listen and trust the forecast. Chipper's batting insights have unlocked hidden potential in many Braves hitters, so it's safe to say he's the Yoda of hitting advice in Atlanta. For Atlanta Braves fans, having a front row seat to Acuña's journey is like riding a roller coaster with endless twists and turns, except the only adrenaline rush comes from watching Acuña's game-changing plays. And when a legendary player like Chipper dishes out compliments, it's like getting a free souvenir at the ballpark. Unexpected but oh so satisfying. This is just the beginning of Acuña's legend, and Braves fans are in for a wild, exhilarating ride.
He is just a phenomenon like we have not seen in this sport.
He's historically great. He's transcendent great. He is to Japan what Messi is to Argentina.
Ichiro Suzuki was totally right about Shohei Ohtani.
And the Angels have
But no one listened. Shohei Ohtani, the two-way sensation, smashing home runs and striking out batters like it's no big deal. He's a phenomenon, right? But if we go back a few years, we have Ichiro Suzuki, another Japanese baseball legend, subtly warning about the potential pitfalls of Ohtani's dual-role ambition. Fast forward, and Ohtani undergoes Tommy John surgery, sidelining his pitching for a season. What did Ichiro see that everyone else missed? Why didn't anyone take his concerns seriously? Let's look at how one legend's advice could have changed another's career more than anyone expected. Shohei Ohtani's rise to MLB stardom is truly something special. As a two-way player, he's faced massive pressure, early injuries, and the tough task of adjusting to a new league. Then there's Ichiro Suzuki, the baseball legend who moved from Japanese baseball to MLB, snagging Rookie of the Year and MVP in his first season. Back in Ohtani's rookie year, the two met for dinner, and Ichiro gave Ohtani a simple piece of advice: be yourself. At first, Ohtani, who was always making tweaks and changes to his game, didn't fully buy into it, but over time, he started to understand the wisdom. Fast forward to his historic 2021 MVP season, where he crushed it, both as a pitcher and as a hitter. This amazing achievement showed that Ichiro was spot on. It highlights just how important it is to stay true to yourself, even when you're under a ton of scrutiny. So, what can we learn from this legendary advice? Is staying true to yourself the key to overcoming doubt and achieving greatness? But first, let's talk about the legend himself, Ichiro Suzuki. His career is nothing short of iconic, with dominance in Japanese baseball and historic feats in MLB. But did you know he also played a key role as a mentor to Shohei Ohtani? By 2021, Shohei Ohtani had an unforgettable MVP season, excelling both as a pitcher and a hitter. This amazing success proved that Ichiro's advice was spot on. It showed that being true to yourself can lead to incredible achievements. Ohtani didn't just play, he dominated the game in a way that few have ever seen, making history and becoming a true legend. The iconic piece of advice from Suzuki shaped the dynamic between these two baseball legends forever. But wait, Ichiro and Ohtani have always had this mentor-mentee relationship, right? Well, apparently not, as it seems there's been some tension simmering beneath the surface. It all started when Ichiro made some comments that everyone ignored but turned out to be spot on about Ohtani. Ichiro, being the legend he is, saw potential issues in Ohtani's approach to balancing pitching and hitting. He hinted that Ohtani might face long-term physical challenges if he kept up his dual-role performance without careful management. At first, everyone brushed off Ichiro's concerns, thinking he was just being overly cautious. But a couple of years later, Ohtani had to undergo Tommy John surgery, proving Ichiro's predictions right. This surgery forced Ohtani to sit out pitching duties for an entire season, which was a huge blow to his career momentum. There was also a bit of buzz about how Ohtani's playing style compared to Ichiro's. While Ichiro was known for his consistent, almost machine-like performance, Ohtani's high-risk, high-reward style sometimes led to spectacular failures. Ichiro reportedly advised Ohtani to focus more on consistency and durability, advice that Ohtani initially didn't fully embrace. The media made a big deal out of this, suggesting there might be a subtle rift, or at least a difference in philosophy between the two stars. Even though they publicly show mutual respect, insiders say there were moments of quiet disagreement on how Ohtani should manage his career. This approach, however, seemed at odds with Ichiro Suzuki's simple yet profound advice to be yourself. Ohtani's first few years with the Los Angeles Angels were marked by struggles with injuries and inconsistent performance, further complicating his journey. Despite his natural inclination to change and adapt, Ohtani gradually began to see the value in Ichiro's words. As he faced the numerous challenges, he slowly realized that staying true to himself was the solution to unlocking his full potential. This acceptance of Ichiro's wisdom played a huge role in Ohtani's eventual breakthrough and historic success. As Ohtani started to embrace Ichiro's advice, he shifted his focus from constant adjustments to perfecting his skills. This shift in mindset allowed him to recover from his injuries more effectively and regain his confidence on the field. By the 2021 season, Ohtani had fully embraced his dual role as both a pitcher and a hitter, achieving feats that left fans and critics in awe. His amazing performance included hitting 46 home runs and pitching with a stellar ERA, feats that had not been seen since Babe Ruth. This season not only showcased his immense talent, but also underscored the importance of staying true to oneself, a lesson Ichiro had imparted years earlier. After years of making adjustments, pushing through injuries, and gradually embracing Ichiro Suzuki's simple yet powerful advice, Ohtani finally had his breakout year. In 2021, he blew everyone away with his incredible performance, both as a pitcher and a hitter. He hit 46 home runs, stole 26 bases, and maintained a 3.18 ERA with 156 strikeouts. Talk about versatility. Despite initially overlooking Ichiro's simple counsel to be yourself, Ohtani's eventual embrace of this wisdom proved pivotal to his success, validating Ichiro's timeless advice. Here's where things get interesting. Shohei Ohtani's recognition as AP Male Athlete of the Year was a crowning moment that vindicated Ichiro Suzuki's guidance. This incredible honor reflected Ohtani's historic achievements and highlighted the importance of Ichiro's advice to just be yourself. Ohtani's success today highlights the power of Ichiro's guidance and believing in yourself. It's incredible to see how a bit of advice from a legend like Ichiro can make such a huge difference.